Good Tuesday morning, Quad Cities. It is 9 o'clock. Today is Tuesday, May 20th, 2025. Welcome in to this live severe storm discussion. I'm meteorologist Andrew Stutzky.
And I'm weather anchor Peter Warner.
And here we go.
Here we go. A little development today.
That's right. Yeah, a little change happened late last night into early this morning. Now, yesterday we had a weather impact alert day for some of those strong wind gusts in our southernmost hometowns. Wasn't a whole lot of wind and hail with that, thankfully, but man, the rain and the lightning.
It came down.
Woo, did it ever. It really came down. So we are under the threat of some more severe storms for today. This is a scattered threat, and it is especially true for those of you that live south and east of the Quad City metro area. If you're in that direction, that's where you need to be paying close attention, and that's where our attention will be focused as we go into this afternoon. Let's go over our weather impact alert, the basics here, what we've got for timing, what we've got for an impact, and the need for you to stay safe today. So our timing is right now from noon until 6 o'clock this evening. That's when we're expecting that window of opportunity to present itself where we could get a couple of those scattered stronger storms. The impact, of course, will be large hail, and yes, there is an isolated tornado threat that is possible with this as well. We have just enough spin in the atmosphere today that if one or two of these storms gets going and can really take full advantage of the environment, that's where that tornado threat will come into play. It's not a strong tornado kind of day. We're not talking about EF2 plus tornadoes. We're talking about the weaker tornadoes that will come into play today. The need, of course, if you have the Storm Track 8 app, that is a great resource. That'll get you every watch, every warning, everything you need to know right to your phone. And of course, what you're watching right now, the 8 Plus app. That's another great resource too if we need to do severe weather coverage this afternoon.
Oh yeah, it's the best place to be.
Yes.
Exclusive club. It's cool. It's kind of the cool kids
It
club.
is the cool kids club, yeah. And I kind of gave you a sneak peek of that with a long form weather this morning on GMQC because we were having tech issues. So that's a little kind of preview of what we get to do on there. Storm zones, let's pop those up for you so you can see how those look. And you can see, again, as I mentioned before, we're focusing a lot of this attention south and east of the Quad Cities. Now, yeah, the metro's in a 1 out of 5, but you can see we step up to this 2 out of 5 as we go into Galesburg, Macomb. I would include Kewaunee in that, and also Princeton, too. One thing I want to highlight, it is possible that even farther west of this, I would say back to Washington, just east of Ottumwa, that we would have this threat there too, that 1 out of 5. National Weather Service was agreeing and kind of pointing that out earlier this morning too, that threat may backtrack a little bit further west. So just because you're not under that zone, say west of Mount Pleasant to Washington and Muscatine, doesn't mean you don't have that risk today. This is really a lot of folks along and south of Interstate 80, I would say at this point. There's your tornado zones today, possible up to the metro Quad Cities, and then it goes to a higher threat, that 2 out of 5, south of Kewaunee, Princeton into LaSalle, Peru, and Peoria. That does include Macomb, by the way, included in that 2 out of 5 threat. So that's what we're looking at in terms of which areas are going to be our hot spots for this afternoon.
Yeah, it's kind of, again, a conditional threat, too, that we're going to be talking about here. And it's
yes.
One of those systems, again, where I believe we're kind of talking about almost a cap situation. And also how much sunlight we can get in storm energy we can develop here today. You
were exactly right. Yeah, we need some of that sunlight, that sun energy in order to get that atmosphere churning and things like that. So conditional, I know we've been saying that a lot as of lately. It means, you know, something could happen, something may not happen. I know folks like to take advantage of that and make fun of us for that, but we're being honest with you and telling you, you know, if the right conditions get into play here this afternoon, things could really start cooking. If you want to look at some of the ingredients, we'll go through those with you really quickly here. We'll start with our storm energy ingredients and what that looks like as we go into this afternoon. You can see there's definitely some storm energy sitting along and south of Interstate 80 as we go into the early afternoon. You're going to see the number on the right-hand side of your screen kind of stuck at 0 because I think what's happening is we're getting the new model run in right now,
what's going on?
And it's not updating right yet. But you can see that corridor of storm energy. The last time I checked the number, it was around 1,300 joules per kilogram. So that puts us in the moderate category for storm energy. It's just enough to get things going up into the atmosphere. And what's going to happen is we get an area of low pressure that's coming in here too. Right now it's near Kansas City, but it's lifting northeastward. So as that thing gets in here, we're going to introduce some spin in the winds. And what I'm showing you here is what we call wind shear. So we're showing you the wind's direction at the ground, which is the white arrows. And then I'm showing you the wind direction 10,000 feet up. And where those arrows are not following the orange, that's where you have the spin. You'd want to see both of these going in the same direction, but that's not the case this afternoon. You can actually see kind of along the Interstate 80 corridor, there's this pronounced turning of the winds, where we're going from a southwest wind to a southeast wind. So we're getting that counterclockwise rotation right within this zone here that we pointed out for tornado development. So that is why that is there. This is 2 o'clock this afternoon, by the way. Once we get to this evening, that all comes to an end. We'll start to see the shear relax, go away completely later tonight. So by 6 o'clock, I think it's safe to say that that threat's going to be over and done with. That appears to be the timing right now. We're going to get a new run of this model in while we're on this live stream here in the next 25 minutes. So this is what it looks like right now, but we'll see what the new model run holds for us. So I'll take you through it just so you can see for comparison's sake what we're showing. So as we go into this afternoon, what we're going to be tracking, as Peter said, can we get some sunshine, some storm energy? Because look what's going on in southeast Iowa, where we've got a little bit of this clearing that's working in through the afternoon. We're breaking up some of those clouds. We're increasing the temperatures. Probably some hometowns south may hit the 70s if that happens this afternoon, while the rest of us are in the 60s. And then we're just kind of in wait and see mode. Can we get some of those scattered storms to start developing? And you saw right there, kind of in that last frame.
Yeah, it kind of explodes right there.
Yeah, right there, just south and east of the Quad Cities. So that's going to be kind of the hot spot we're going to be watching as we head into the early evening. Large hail and a few tornadoes will be possible with those storms there, in addition to some heavy rainfall. We have certainly had some rain this morning already, and we've had quite a bit of it actually. If you want to look at the rainfall totals, I just compiled those moments ago. Here's the whole list. It's just closing in on 2 inches here in Moline in the Quad Cities. Davenport isn't far behind at 1.75 inches, and a lot of other hometowns with an inch plus. This is all easily absorbed into the ground, so we're not really worried about flooding at this time. We will certainly keep an eye on some of the more vulnerable rivers like the Wapsie. That thing always just, anytime you get a heavy rain event regardless, it rises. So we'll keep an eye on that. But in terms of our other rivers, I'm not anticipating any problems right now. This is a welcome sight.
Yes, we needed it very badly.
And, you know, we got all of this almost 2 inches here in the Quad Cities. You're helping out our sister station in Des Moines. They're breaking records with this rain.
Like significant records. The rainiest day ever recorded in May was yesterday. Ever. Recorded in May.
That's huge for May.
3.74 inches of rainfall in a 24-hour period recorded at the Des Moines International Airport.
That is huge.
Huge.
Because May is a wet month, and it can be a wet month.
Yeah, to break that in May, this is the second rainiest total average month there by about only 0.6 inches. So it's practically the rainiest month of the year.
Wow. You
break the rainiest day in that record ever. 14th rainiest day in history in recorded in Des Moines.
That is so impressive.
Yeah.
And it was, the timing was perfect.
They needed it very badly.
Been talking about that rainfall deficit.
They were very far behind. I think they're about 3 inches behind. But now they pretty much got their whole month's worth. 48-hour total, 4.92 inches.
Wow.
In 48 hours. So that's pretty much their monthly average checked off like that.
And thank goodness the ground could suck a lot of it up.
Yes.
Otherwise, we'd be talking about flooding and all this other stuff going on. But yeah, the ground more than capable of sucking all that water in, which is good.
We need it.
The timing was perfect. I'm going to take us to the regional perspective here on the radar so you can kind of get a lay of the land, what we're going to be tracking here. So I'm going to move this map a little bit further to the south, just kind of get our bearings here. It's easy to see where that low pressure is. It's right there just east of Kansas City, pivoting and spinning its way to the northeast. If you can't tell where that's at, we'll draw it on the map here for you. There's our low right there. And that thing is going to move east-northeast. So by the time it gets here this afternoon, you can see we have all this clearing ahead of it. We have some breaks in the clouds here in northeast Missouri. They're trying to fill in with some more scattered showers and storms, but for the most part, it looks like the clearing is kind of holding its own here.
That's where we're going to get that instability and that sunshine. And that, even if that we can get the kind of moisture there, that can kind of help carry it over here towards the area as well.
Yeah, that's all it's going to take. Let's take the front off the map. We're going to go to what we call the visible satellite. So this is the view if you were to look down directly from space. And I'll remind you again where the low pressure system is. It's centered right about here. And we're going to be moving that, generally speaking, in this direction. And yeah, I mean, even the visible satellite shows a really good representation of all that clearing coming in.
Yeah.
There it is.
There it is. And again, you only need just enough storm energy. You just got to get something in there kind of in a way. If we can just get to the moderate range, like that 1,000 range that we were talking about earlier, that can help these storms fire pretty quickly.
And up it will go. Yeah, there's already at least some modest amounts of, it looks like, storm energy sitting down that way. So as time goes on and we build in a little bit more sunshine, looks like those numbers will be going up a little bit more. It's not explosive energy today or extreme levels of energy, but it's just enough with that area of low pressure that, yeah, it is something we're going to have to keep an eye on as we go into this afternoon. So to reiterate, you know, again, if you're south and east of the Quad Cities, that's going to be kind of the storm zone for today. We think, generally speaking, this corridor right here may extend itself a little bit further to the west, depending on the timing of the low pressure and everything else coming in. But it's going to be a short window this afternoon, it looks like.
It's a very short time frame. So just, I guess, again, the development window possible.
Yeah, we're going to keep an eye on that.
Keep an eye on it.
Very close watch. If you guys have some questions, you can pop those into the chat. This is kind of like an Ask Andrew segment. It's the same phone number that you use to text your questions. It's 309-304-0888, 309-304-0888.
309-304-0888. Sorry, I forgot there.
Oh, that's okay.
My goodness.
It's not Wednesday, it's Tuesday. Our brain's in Tuesday mode still.
Tuesday or Monday mode? I don't even know anymore.
Monday 2.0.
Yeah.
Monday 2.5.
It feels like, right?
Something like that, yeah. So if you guys have questions regarding the timing, the track of the storms, of course, we get a lot of questions that say, you know, when is it going to arrive in my town? Let us know what town you're in.
Please.
Because we can't go into your profile and stalk what location you're at. No. A lot of that is locked down. Mm-hmm. So you got to make it a little easier for us and let us know specifically what town you're talking about, and we can help answer those questions.
Yeah. Matthew was wondering about Kewaunee today. Could it get pretty bad? Just want to check up on that.
Kewaunee is definitely in that zone.
Yeah, they are.
You are in that zone, and so is Geneseo. Cambridge, really all of Henry County is in that zone today. And look at Kewaunee, how close you are to the 2 out of 5. So yes, we think Kewaunee is absolutely in play today. If we can get enough destabilization, if we can get some of those storms to get churning to the west of us early this afternoon, Kewaunee will definitely see that threat arrive. Timing-wise, I would say you're likely looking after the 2 o'clock hour, probably after 2, 3 o'clock. Yep. A little bit more to that mid to late afternoon.
Yeah.
Good question.
That was a good question. Mm-hmm. I think, yeah, pretty much if you're kind of right on that border, I would say of the 2, kind of treat it like a 2.
Yeah.
It's kind of my thought process.
Yeah, I've been saying the same thing all morning, yeah.
Pat and Danny from WLLR. Hey, guys.
Goodness.
I know.
Celebrities.
Celebrities asking. Oh, my goodness. You must be doing something, right?
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, my God.
They were wondering what are some of the rain totals that have occurred. Seems like more from the QCs kind of to the south.
Yes, yeah, I'll pop that list back up again in case you missed it here. This was really impressive. And again, heaviest amounts were, like you said, south of the Quad Cities, Muscatine into the west half of the Quad Cities like Bettendorf. Here in Moline, we had almost 2 inches, which is really nice, by the way.
That's a good total.
I wonder, well, that's not just today. I think that's also from last night, too, we have to remember. Probably didn't break a record today. But look at the stretch down there along I-74 just to the west, Aledo, Monmouth, also kind of getting that heavier corridor of rain. It's kind of neat because this is where that line of storms came up from the southwest, and it just kind of pivoted itself. It kind of arced back to the west last night.
I noticed that. It was interesting. It's kind of the movement of that low almost, or not the low, but the boundary that was kind of riding along.
Yeah. And that's where the heavier rain fell, at least here locally. I'm sure, you know, we don't have these boxes filled in for these counties west, but I'm sure that probably extends back west to Des Moines and probably Cedar Rapids and Iowa City and all of those points west too.
It's very corridor driven, these storms. Like you're seeing a thin corridor where thunderstorms made their way up, and then kind of you follow where the thunderstorms went, that's where you're going to get those heavier totals.
Exactly.
Let's see. Billy got 1.34 in Clinton.
Excellent.
Thank
Very
you, Billy.
good.
He's wondering, is there any severe chances in Clinton or Jackson counties tonight?
Clinton and Jackson, I think you're just a little bit too far north. You're right kind of on the edge. Not too worried about areas that far north. just based, on what's going on with radar trends, especially when you look at radar trends.
Yes.
It's our northernmost hometowns that are going to stay in the rain the longest here. You've got more rain tracking up through Scott and Jackson and eventually, or Clinton and Jackson County. So the fact that this keeps filling in means you're going to keep this air right here stable. But look what's going on to the south. Down to the south, we have these big gaps. So this is where that sunshine is going to be allowed to break through, and that's where things are going to start destabilizing, and that's where we're going to be focused on our threat for some stronger storms this afternoon. So yeah, I would say if you're definitely a tier of counties to the north of Interstate 80, say north of Scott County, the upper north half of Whiteside County, and points north, you're likely not going to have to worry about any severe weather today. This is going to be to your south.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
County up. County up.
A county up, a row of counties up.
Yeah.
A notch up.
I like that. Will it get windy again this evening in Matherville?
Yes, we are going to see the winds increase again. In fact, we can put up our future track wind speeds, and we'll do that after we go to the live wind speeds now, because we actually had quite a bit of wind this morning.
It was a bit breezy this morning.
Yeah, 40-mile-an-hour gusts. Yeah. Then that was right around 5:30-ish, right in that hour there. We're going to see the wind continue for the next couple of days. It may get briefly lighter here as it's doing now this morning, because you look west to Des Moines, there's not much wind going on there. But let's put the future track wind gusts into motion, and we're going to do this on the fly here because I think I'm going to have to update my time. Yep, because that's starting tomorrow. So let's change this because I didn't use it this morning. We will change it to today, and we will put the timeline on here, and we'll see what happens. So, of course, yeah, there's the strong winds from this morning, and that definitely was realized. But we're going to get in this kind of a lull through the afternoon as that low gets closer to us. The closer the low is, the lighter the winds are going to be. But then that low pulls away as we go into the day tomorrow, and you can see areas, especially south of the Quad Cities, are going to be in line for some gusts potentially exceeding 30 miles an hour tomorrow.
Yeah. There's something I noticed there too. If you go back, you can see kind of the wind gusts within these storms as that low tracks its way through.
Oh, let's go back right there.
Right there.
Yep.
Yeah. Seymour, is that a boundary or is that the low there? But
I think that is picking up on the storms.
I think that is picking up
you're
on
right.
the storms.
Yeah.
Right there.
What Peter's talking about, I'm going to save this real quick because I can't do a pointer on this when it's on this screen here. But let's throw this up here, and we're going to put a pause on that. You can sometimes the models are good at picking this up. They're high resolution, so there are times when you can pick up the thunderstorm associated winds with thunderstorms. So let's put a pause here, and then we can put our big arrow on there. So Peter's talking about this stuff right here, and then as it moves to the east, this is what he's referring to here, picking up some of those stronger wind gusts as those storms are rolling through.
Yeah.
Good eye.
Yeah.
And that was even behind the banner. He's got X-ray vision.
Oh, I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
Very good eye.
Thank you. Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be windy the next couple of days. The winds will settle down, especially by the end of the week.
Yeah. Thank goodness. Just in time for the weekend.
Yeah.
A 3-day weekend.
3-day weekend.
3-day weekend.
Well, for some.
For some. Oh, goodness. How is Sherrard looking for this afternoon?
Sherrard is...
Just hail or tornadoes, maybe?
I think it's all of the above for Sherrard. Yeah, you're in the zones, whether it's the 1 or the 2, that potential is definitely there. We'll have to watch and see the radar again. We think things start cooking about 2, 3 o'clock to the west and then working their way to the east. The key word on this, though, is it's going to be scattered. This is not going to be widespread. Not everyone is going to see this today. Even if you're in the orange or red zone, it's not a guarantee that you're going to see this today. This is a day where this remains a possibility. So it's one of those days that I like to remind you, as you're going about your day, you're kind of occasionally looking out the window, and if it's about lunchtime and you're looking outside and the sun's out and you're in one of these zones, that's when a little alarm bell goes off in your head and it says, okay,
keep an eye on that radar.
Things could start cooking on that radar here because the sun's out. We're adding some storm energy. If you remain cloudy all afternoon and late morning into the afternoon, then your awareness level can go down a little bit more. But still, you want to remain at least somewhat aware.
Yes.
You could have a neighboring storm come in, and even though you've been cloudy, that doesn't mean you're going to escape that threat.
Yes. I think the best thing to do is get that Storm Track 8 out.
He's on it.
And then you should get that WQ88 Plus app if you're watching us on Facebook on your TV.
Yeah, our Facebook streamers, if you're watching us here right now, this is a service that really at some point is probably going to go exclusively to the A Plus app.
Yes.
And if you've got a smart TV, it's the Amazons, the Rokus, the Apple TVs. Those are the places where you're going to be able to stream this extended coverage like this.
Yes.
It's a handy thing.
It's a handy thing. We can do whatever we want on there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well,
no time limits.
yes.
Within
Time
reason.
limits. Within reason. They don't want to hear us blabble
No.
as much as some might like that. Maybe.
We know that those folks back there running the stream want to go home at some point. Like,
Yeah.
you know what? We want to go home. Can you guys please wrap this up?
Yes, exactly. Dave was saying pretty windy in Peru. He had some big tree limbs on the ground this morning.
I believe it.
I believe it. Yeah, they saw those strong gusts. What more can we expect for Peru?
So LaSalle, Peru, absolutely. As you can see here, you're in the zones. We are expecting those storms to arrive a little bit later for you. It's likely going to be after 4, maybe even as late as 5 o'clock when you get closer to that Interstate 39 corridor. So soonest west, you're talking as early as 2 o'clock here on the western fringe of that orange. And then you're talking Quad Cities probably around 3, 4. And then east of us after that 4 o'clock time frame. So Geneseo, Kewaunee after 4 o'clock. Princeton would be closer to 5, if not a little bit after 5 o'clock for the storm timing. And we're going to check back in again before we go with Future Track because we're going to get another new run of that. This is the hour that we get that. So we'll see what that has to show, if there's any new developments. I can also run through the high-resolution rapid refresh solution, and see if there's anything new with that, too. Yeah, you can see there's still a couple right around Interstate 88. That's not the newest one, though.
No.
So we're going to do this on the fly, as we usually do here. Yep. So I'm going to backtrack this up. Actually, I'm going to take that off. I want to see the 4K run, and we'll see if that's been updated since. Yeah, this one is different.
This is new, yeah.
It's got a little bit more
juice, even later.
Coming in a little bit later. I'm not too sold on that late solution there. By then it's too late. But watching a couple of these up here near Princeton, north of Princeton, south of Sterling Rock Falls, I'm really surprised at how late that is. Let's go and switch that. We're going to go to the rapid refresh model.
And this has a little bit more than typical, I would say.
Yeah, this one, it
shows a lot more.
It's been overdoing a lot the last couple of days. This would be the more extreme solution if everything came together just right. But I do like the timing of this arc of storms here.
Yeah, the placement isn't too far off, at least for that southern portion.
Yeah, I agree with the timing of that. I think, if things were to get cooking, you'd initially talk about this right around 2 o'clock, first starting likely near Burlington. I'm not really sold on this stuff north of the Quad Cities into Princeton and LaSalle, Peru. So discounting that, pay attention to the bottom left-hand corner, that then coming northward through the afternoon.
Yeah.
That's the scenario that I'm envisioning in my mind, just what I've looked at today. So there, the timing agrees, east of Princeton into LaSalle, Peru, right about 5 o'clock or so. But again, like Peter said, this model has been going gangbusters for the last several storm events, including this week and the weekend, just overdoing things.
I know, at least for one of my forecasts in Des Moines, I ran with it and it just busted completely.
Yeah. So it's really kind of, worst case scenario, the best moisture, the highest instability. That's what that model's doing.
I would say I like to kind of think of it as this one shows the most explosive scenario. Our house models always have a little bit more lower end of, I guess, these storms potential.
A little more conservative.
So it's kind of like a mix of the two. Yeah. I would say is kind of hybrid them. If we can try and hybrid them, but it's hard to show on her. But yeah, kind of think of a hybrid between these two. Yeah. That's usually a good idea of what will actually be the scenario, I think, a lot of the time.
I like that explanation. Yeah, it's the house model that we're using, that we're showing you now, kind of the balance between the two. Because the rapid refresh, that's why it was exploding storms north first, is because it's thinking, we have all that moisture up there, we have all that instability, and that may not likely be the case. Again, it's all going to be dependent on sunlight trends and where the lift with that system is going to track.
Exactly.
So yeah, that was a great explanation. It's fun though that we can poke around at that. We can go into the different models and we can show you what we're seeing and, you know, use our experience and our analysis to try and figure out what's going to happen for this afternoon. But that is certainly one scenario. I do like the way those storms were coming up from the southwest. I like the timing on that. I like the coverage. I didn't agree with the coverage as far north as Sterling Rock Falls and that exploding off. But, you know, given cloud trends, especially looking to our south, definitely appears that, yeah, I think that little area of disturbed weather developing first, probably on the, you know, it's kind of like a comma head.
Yeah.
So as this thing moves northeast, you're going to get the storm development kind of right in this region first, and then that'll race to the northeast as we head later this afternoon.
Yeah. Just kind of noticed it out near Ottumwa kind of potentially firing here as well. That's kind of one thing I was noticing this morning is keep an eye on that Ottumwa kind of section, you could almost say.
Yes.
That little portion of southeastern central Iowa.
Yep, you can see on the map here where Peter's talking about, there's Ottumwa. Look at the clearing taking place to the south of Ottumwa at this hour, north of Kirksville, and you've still got more clearing here. And if you look at these clouds, you know, yeah, there's clouds there, but these are not low-level stratus-type clouds that would block out the sun. These are likely your cumulus clouds, and look at how much space is between them. We don't have a solid deck of clouds that's coming in. So, you know, that's telling us that, yeah, we're going to get the destabilization coming in the next several hours.
Yeah. Definitely something to watch. I'd say tune into GMQC at 11 for sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We'll have definitely more on this at 11 o'clock. And, of course, more on the rainfall totals, too, there. Looks like a couple hail questions coming in,
yeah,
maybe.
Hail threat in the local QC.
Yes. Let's pop up, if it'll let me. Because I didn't really do the, for timing's sake this morning, the individual storm zones, but we can pop those up and see what we're showing. Gosh, it's been so long. I buried them down at the bottom. It's been a while.
It's a good thing.
So we're going to clean up this really quick. Give me a moment. So there's your zones for today. Let's update the timing on the banner here. Again, we're working with this on the fly. And there we go. So hail zones, you know, it's going to mirror what we just showed you here. And the outlook itself from the SPC. Notice we have no hatching today. That means no 2-inch plus diameter hail. I think at max you're talking quarter size hail.
Yeah, quarter most likely. Yeah. Probably more pea-sized with isolated quarter type situation, especially in that one range.
And it's a unique setup because that low pressure system, those lows are cold core systems.
They are very cold.
So, you know, if we get that energy and that lift, you're going to have some good hail production. In fact, you could have the type of hail production, like you said, the smaller hail, but there's enough of it falling that it covers the ground.
Yes.
That's going to be a possibility for everyone in that zone today.
And he also, Nick asked again, timing, same right around that 2 to 6 p.m.-ish, give or take?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the case here. Let's see if this will let me do it. It might let me do it. I kind of wish I had a pen, one of those pens that you could draw.
Yes.
So I'm gonna put a couple lines on here, and we'll go with those, and we'll see. Well, I don't want to do that line. My goodness. Let me go back. I can't draw. I tried to draw on TV earlier this morning, and I just couldn't do it. Didn't like me. Let's try that again. So let's put a line kind of arcing from Ottumwa and then to the southeast. That would be your earliest. We're talking like 2 o'clock there. If you move that forward a little bit more, you're talking about 3-ish into the Quad Cities here and point south at about 4. And then I would say here at about 5. So don't ask me to draw my numbers here because it's probably going to look terrible. We can try it. There's 5.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Oh, isn't that beautiful? Oh my gosh. So the thing with drawing on a screen like this, oh gosh, this is awful, is it doesn't do curves well. You see that? It really doesn't like that. So I have to kind of do a curve at a time. 3. Oh, that's terrible. Can you read that? 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay.
That makes sense.
So there's the general timing there. Again, I wish I had a little pen. I need a little.
We need to get a little stylus.
Little stylus, yeah. I'm an old person now. I
Oh,
need a stylus.
stop it. No. All right, time for the next
A mature
question.
person, I should say.
No. Oh, my goodness, Andrew. Every time.
There's your timing, though.
Yeah. All right. Let me see. Let me get these questions back up for you. We got a little distracted there. Oh, goodness. Let's see. How's Rova country looking?
Yes, Rova Country, of course, south of the Quad Cities. Yeah, 3 to 4, potentially 3 to 5 is kind of what we're eyeing there. And you are far enough south that, yeah, we are going to be watching for that trend of a hail threat and a tornado threat. There is a wind threat with this too, but it's really the hail and the tornado threat that's kind of on the higher end of the scale today. So keep an eye to the radar. We will certainly be doing that, especially after 3 o'clock. And if you notice some sunshine coming in late this morning into the afternoon, kind of raise your awareness, your threat level a little bit more there.
Oh, let's see. So my question's in the process, but we still have plenty of them. The tornado. So Matthew's wondering, what is the tornado threat? Like, is it for sure guaranteed, but is it conditional?
It's conditional. The tornado threat is conditional today. And again, it all depends on the amount of sun. If we can bring in a decent amount of sun, climb those temperatures well into the 60s, we will have that quick spin up tornado threat. It's not the strong damaging tornadoes that we, have on those higher threat days. You notice nothing I showed you today has slash marks through it. It's not what we call hatched. These are the quick spin up tornadoes. Most of them are EF0, EF1 in intensity.
Yes.
And that accounts for like 90+% of tornadoes that we always see. So, it's not to take them lighter or not take action when a tornado warning is issued, but I want to assure people we're not going to see what they've seen in St. Louis here.
No.
We're not looking at that kind of a strength of a storm system or a tornado coming up into this region today.
No.
Because I know that's been in the news a lot.
It has been in the news a lot. They're seeing that same scenario again potentially in portions of Kentucky and Tennessee, sadly.
Which is just, it's unreal. I mean, your heart drops every time you see that video, and you learn of more than a dozen people have been killed to our south in that volatile pattern, and
it's just tough.
It is very tough, yes.
So nothing like that here.
No, not expecting that here. No. Nope, don't have that kind of setup.
No. How's Walnut Hill, Illinois shaping up?
Walnut Hill, Illinois. Would that perhaps be near Walnut in Bureau County? I don't think I've ever heard of Walnut.
I believe Walnut, or is it maybe out near? Yeah, I think it's in Bureau County. I'm 99% sure.
We're gonna look this up really quick because I have never heard of this before. Walnut Hill.
I think I remember seeing it one time.
That's a village in Marion County.
Marion.
That's way south. That's southern Illinois. Oh my goodness.
No.
If that's correct, yes, Walnut Hill is.
I misread it. No, I misread it.
Is it Walnut, Illinois?
I said Walnut, Illinois.
Hater. No, I'm kidding.
Oh my goodness.
That's okay.
Looks like I need another copy.
I wondered. I was like, Walnut Hill is well south of here.
I think I read Hale and then Hill and then just.
Oh, that could be. Yeah. And the voice to text kind of messes things up sometimes. Yes, Walnut, Illinois, and Bureau County, right up here. Yes.
Oh goodness.
Definitely need to keep an eye on that radar after 4 o'clock. You're a little bit later, so after 4 o'clock. Keep an eye on the sunshine. If you can get that sun, yes, you are in that zone for that potential of seeing some large hail and an isolated quick spin-up tornado today.
Yes.
I'm glad we got that straightened out because that was going to bug me for the longest time.
What about Sterling? Sorry, Matt. I deeply apologize.
Oh, that's okay. You're fine. You're fine.
Yes.
Sterling.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, you're right on the edge here. I would not take Sterling out of play. I think Clinton's a little bit too far north, but Sterling's right on the edge here. I think, yeah, it's worth watching. I know I'll be watching that, especially if you can break yourself into some sunshine late this morning into the afternoon. I think Sterling could very much be in play here later today.
Yeah. So Rockfall, Sterling, what about, so Galesburg timing, again, that kind of late 3 to 4 o'clock-ish time frame.
Yep.
So that's what we're keeping an eye on there. Then what about... let's see, here, we got a question.
Oh.
It's from this wonderful man named Marcus from Knoxville.
Oh, I tell you. Okay, let's hear it.
Andrew and Peter, my question. Good morning.
Good morning.
Why do caps prevent severe weather from occurring?
Oh, goodness. So caps, we talked a lot about that last week. Remember last Thursday? We had that cap that was supposed to put a lid on the storms, but some ended up firing anyway. So a cap is that layer of warm air aloft in the atmosphere. Typically, as you rise with high temperatures fall, but with a cap, they fall and then they go up again.
Yes.
And that prevents anything from rising. It hits that warm air and it just says, nope, comes right back to the ground. Yeah, cancel, gets canceled. So that kind of a scenario today, not guaranteed. especially the fact that we're not going to see all day sunshine. And this is also that cold core level, upper level low that's coming in. So it's something to monitor, I think, as we go into the afternoon for sure. But today is definitely vastly different than what we had last week when it was 90 plus degrees and all that going on.
Yes.
Great question.
Much different. Matthew's wondering, does he need to cancel his appointment in Kiwanee? I would say probably not.
I would not cancel any appointments today.
I wouldn't say in general, no. Just keep an eye on the radar and the forecast.
Exactly, yeah. I wouldn't go canceling any appointments today, especially if they're medical appointments, any kind of those appointments. I never encourage doing that unless we're on a high-end, very large risk day,
Yes.
like if we're at a 4 or a 5, because those kind of days indicate widespread activity.
Yes.
This is not that kind of day. This is hit and miss, here and there. It's not everybody sees them kind of day.
No.
So do not go canceling anything today.
Nope.
Just keep an eye on the radar.
Keep an eye on the radar.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much all we got.
Okay, excellent. Well, we're going to continue tracking this, of course, throughout the rest of the day. We've got Chief Meteorologist James Zahara coming in this afternoon and this evening. There probably is going to be another live chat scheduled, I'm sure, at some point today. Yep. So we're going to keep in touch as a weather team. We'll hammer out a plan for this afternoon if we need additional coverage. Again, we'll keep an eye on the radar, the satellite trends, and we'll see how it all shakes out.
Yeah.
But now you at home are informed, and you know what to expect as we go into this afternoon.
Better to be prepared than scared.
That's right. Exactly. Knowledge is power, my friend. All right, we're going to head up to our morning meeting. We're going to take a little bit of a break, and I'm going to regroup for GMQC at 11. I will see you then. Have a great Tuesday, Quad Cities.
Continue with us and watch free now on the 8 Plus app everywhere you stream.